And welcome to another video. This video is not necessarily on how to make millions of credits, rather this one is going to be on the best way to farm Warzone commendations in this game. There are many uses to farming Warzone commendations. One would be perhaps to use my tip which I gave, which is on how to convert Warzone commendations to credits. So maybe if you want to use that tip, you want to know also what are the best ways to farm these Warzone commendations so you can make the most amount of credits. The obvious other reason to get Warzone commendations or to try to farm them would be to want to get the best PvP gear, and now that ranked Warzone gear costs regular commendations are just so much more useful, and you're going to want them in more bulk quantity. Another change that greatly helps the farming of Warzone commendations is the fact that different characters can now transfer Warzone commendations to another character, and that's greatly useful, and that's an integral part of this tip. So let's get into it. The first thing you guys need to understand is that the only way that you can get Warzone commendations in this game is by doing Warzones. So with that in mind, the best way to make sure you're getting the most Warzone commendations per Warzone you do is to do low beast PvP. And that means player versus player Warzones from the 10 to 40 bracket. The reason I say this is the best way to farm Warzone commendations is because it's the quickest way to get done your weeklies and your dailies. Your dailies are only for two. You only need to play 2 Warzone matches, and if you win, that counts as 2. So if you could potentially only play 1 Warzone match and get your 300 Warzone commendations, and if the weekly is only 5 Warzones, and so once again you could do a minimum of 3 and get your 900 Warzone commendations on your low B character. And so that easily makes it just so much more useful. Another point to make is that the games themselves, you get the same amount of Warzone commendations for a win or for a loss just by doing the game as you would if you're doing higher player versus player. Now the reason I say play low beast PvP is the fact that also the games end much quicker. As you can see here, this game is ending very quickly because you don't get those really boring or really terrible matches where you have a tank or a healer and they're really overpowered and you just can't kill them and the game just doesn't end and you end up going for 10-15 minutes playing one game, and that's not very useful if you want to farm Warzone commendations. Just try to get as many Warzone commendations as possible in a very quick amount of time. So the best way to do that would be to play in this very low PvP bracket where the games end very quickly. You get more Warzone commendations because the weekly at higher levels increases. So for example, the weekly at the highest level, which is level 65 PvP, is 15 games to get the same amount of Warzone commendations as you would if you played this low beast PvP. Another point to make is low beast PvP is also very fun, and it's a ton of fun, especially if you're playing as a really bursty character like a sniper or a agent. So that is the video. That's my take on what is the best way to farm Warzone commendations. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one.